Welcome to episode 1 of building a legit home performance shop from scratch. Notice how we're not talking about tools yet? Today is going to be purely about space, because if you screw up this part, if you buy the wrong house, pour cheap concrete, or sign a nightmare commercial lease, your shiny new tools are just going to be a very expensive paperweights. We're going to be using real numbers in 2026, so if you live in the Midwest, you're looking pretty good. If you live in California, my deepest condolences. Let's get into it. This is what 90% of us start with. Typical size, around usually 20 by 20 feet. That's 400 square feet. You've got about 8 to 9 foot ceilings and a standard 7-foot garage door. And let's talk about costs. So you already own or rent a home with a garage. It's technically free in quotations. But if you are out house hunting specifically for a garage, you're paying for it in the mortgage. In 2026, adding a standard 2-car garage to a new build adds around about $25,000 to $40,000 in total cost. Now here's the massive problem with a standard garage. You cannot fit a full-size lift in here. To safely run about a 2-post lift, you need about 11 to 12 foot ceilings, and that's the absolute minimum, and preferably a high lift garage door track. Standard homes just don't have that. They have trusses right above your head. So what are you realistically doing in this space? You're living a jack and jack stand life. Maybe you upgrade to like a quick jack setup, which will run you about $1,500 to $2,000. You'll have wall storage, rolling toolboxes, and consistently playing Tetris to just walk around your project car. And let's talk about the housemate factor. An attached garage means every time you run the air compressor at 11 p.m. or spill brake cleaner, your whole house knows about it. It works, it's a solid starter option, but you're limited. You can't comfortably drop transmissions on a creeper, and you can't really easily pull an engine out without the hoist getting stuck on the garage door track. It is not like a build simple cars option. It's definitely manageable. I know a lot of you probably do it, but it's not the ideal situation, right? All right, now we're getting serious. This is the absolute holy grail for a home mechanic. Let's say you have the land and you decide to build a 30 by 40 pole barn. That's around 1,200 square feet-ish. That gives you enough room for a lift, 2 or 3 project cars, heavy-duty workbenches, and massive storage, and maybe even a clean room for an engine assembly. But what is this actually going to cost you in 2026? You'll see ads for pole barn kits for around like 15 grand. I would definitely probably ignore them. That's just a pile of sheet metal dropped in your driveway. Realistically, a pole barn kit built and erected but completely unfinished inside runs $25 to $35 per square foot. So for that 1,200 square feet, the shell alone is just $30,000 to $42,000. But a shell is just a metal tent. Now we need to make it a shop. First, concrete. You can put a 2-post lift on a thin driveway slab. You need 4 to 6 inches of reinforced concrete, and the lift pads, you really want about 6 inches, right? So at $6 to $10 a square foot, that's another $7,000 to $12,000. All right, next, electrical. You need about 200 amp sub panel, 220 volt outlets for your welder and air compressor, and daylight level LED lighting. Boom, that's like another $5,000 to $10,000. If you live anywhere where it snows, you're gonna be doing closed cell spray for heavy fiberglass. That's another $4,000 to $8,000 for insulation. Heating and cooling, a gas overhead heater or like a heavy duty mini split system is around $2,500 to $6,000. And then upgraded garage doors, like the commercial style roll-up doors with high tracks, around $3,000 to $6,000. So now suddenly your $35,000 pole barn is actually $55,000 to $80,000 investment before you even buy a screwdriver. And wait a minute, don't forget about permits, HOA battles, and zoning setbacks, which can delay for months. But here's why this is the ultimate power move. You own it. It adds massive equity to your property. There is no landlord. You have complete freedom to grind metal at 2 a.m. without a noise complaint. For a serious long-term car guy, this is really the sweet spot. All right, this is where a ton of YouTubers, side hustlers, and tuners end up. A typical small industrial bay is usually about 1,000 to 15,000 square feet. It already has the thick concrete, it already has like the high ceilings for a lift, and it's ready to go. In 2026, depending on your city, commercial space runs anywhere from $8 to $18 per square foot per year. So if you take the same 1,200 square feet we used in the pole barn at $12 a square foot, that's around $14,400 a year, or exactly $1,200 a month. Not bad, right? Well, cheaper than dropping $80K on a barn. Commercial leases are usually triple net, meaning they also pay a share of the building taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Adding commercial rate utilities and your own liability insurance, internet, and business license, realistically, you're probably looking at anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month is just in pure overhead. I mean, and here's the brutal truth about renting. Yes, you avoid a massive $80,000 upfront cost, but over a 5-year lease, a $1,500 payment a month times 60 months is $90,000. And at the end of those 5 years, you own absolutely nothing. Plus, landlords hate automotive use. They hate oil, they hate the noise, they hate the fire risk. Finding a landlord who actually will let you rent is getting harder every single year. Renting really only makes sense if you're running a legitimate business out of it, turning a profit and then writing off the lease on your taxes. If this is just a personal performance shop for your hobbies, it is a massive financial trap. So let's try to simplify this so you can make a decision. So the standard garage, I mean, it's cheap if you already have it and it's the easiest way to start the day. I mean, it's great, but space is incredibly limited. You can't have a lift and you're going to outgrow it fast, right? The pole barn. This is like the biggest long-term value, right? You get massive space to grow, complete customization, and you can own your own equity. But it does require a massive 60 to 80K upfront investment, and you need to put the land on it, right? And then in the industrial rental, right? No huge upfront build costs, which is nice, and you get a professional environment instantly, but it is incredibly expensive long term, and you deal with landlords and then zero equity at the end. If I'm building like a long-term home performance setup, the detached shop always wins every single time. Yeah, $60,000 to $80,000 sounds borderline insane, but if I plan to build cars for the next 10 to 15 years, that's about $6,000 a year averaged out, and then you actually get to just keep building. But listen to me, if you're 22 years old and just getting started, just use a 2-car garage if you can actually find one. Master the basics on jack stands and then learn how to wrench without getting into massive debt and just look legit for the internet. Because the shop doesn't make you a good builder, skill does. A beautifully painted floor isn't going to gap spark plugs for you. Hey, now that we know where we're working, we need to talk about what goes inside. Next episode, we're going to break down the tools you actually need to start. We're going to ignore like the TikTok fantasy builds and look into a little bit more realistic performance setup that won't bankrupt you. And I promise you, half of the stuff people buy on tool trucks is like a complete waste of time. Hit subscribe so you don't miss episode 2, and we'll see you in the next one on TorqueSavvy. Peace.